Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? Today's topic is conflicts of idea. The main objective to be achieved with this topic is to identify the main sources of conflicts of ideas. This is the agenda for today. As a warm-up activity, I want you to mention the name of any group for each continent, for America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. For example, in the American continent, we had the Amerindians, and these are the indigenous people of the Americans. How about Europe, Asia, and Africa? Number 2, recalling the previous learning. What do you remember about yesterday's topic? As a topic, conflicts of idea. Number 4, group discussion. In number 5, we will have some time for questions and answers. Homework. I want you to write at least 2 examples of conflicts of idea for each continent, America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. And then we will have the wrap-up activity at the end. There are 6 types of international conflicts, subdivided in 2 main categories: conflicts of idea and conflicts of interests. Today we are discussing about the first category, conflicts of idea, which are ethnic, religious, and ideological conflicts. Between the conflicts of interest, we have territorial, governmental, and economic. However, this category will be discussed in the next class. Between the conflicts of idea, we have the ethnic conflicts. They are the principal source of current conflict. But what is an ethnic group? This is a large group of people who share ancestral, language, cultural, or religious ties, and a common identity. This type of conflict is not based on tangible causes, what someone does, but on intangible ones, who someone is. Territorial control is closely tied to ethnic groups for statehood. The dangerous combination of ethnic conflict and territorial disputes lead to more future wars. What are the causes of ethnic conflicts? Poor get poorer, and those are the most affected. Thousands of millions of deaths. Landmines. 1 death every 22 minutes. Economic costs cannot be democratized. refugees and spillover effect, environmental destruction, and worsened drug problems. Between the causes of ethnic conflicts, we can mention Asian hatreds. So they do not have good relations. Rarely about just ethnicity, because there are other causes involved. Political understands, meaning there are political interests between. There are stereotypes. For example, United States versus them. Therefore, they think that United States is their enemy. Competition for resources, especially natural resources, or the exploitation or political domination of another. Weak political institutions. Dehumanization, meaning no human qualities to be respected. In addition, the proliferation of automatic weapons. In this map, you can see in the brown area pointed by this arrow the Kurdish national area. That is between Syria and Iran, to the north of Iraq. Kurdish is an example of ethnic conflict. What do you understand by genocide? Or what is genocide for you? What comes to your mind? Well, it is the deliberate killing of people from a racial, political, or cultural group. Unfortunately, genocide is a pressing issue in today's society. Some classic modern history examples of genocide are the Holocaust during the World War II, Rwandan genocide, also known as the genocide against Tutsi, the Darfur crisis, and this is the major armed conflict in Darfur region of Sudan. Let's discuss about the Holocaust. First of all, the word Holocaust comes from the German word Holocaustum, meaning sacrifice by fire. The Holocaust was the massacre of Jews, Gypsies, homosexuals, and disabled people. The leader, Adolf Hitler, believed in the Aryan supremacy, and that all others were inferior and were a disease and a serious problem to the development of the German economy. But this was recently demolished from the Treaty of Versailles in 1919. Approximately 11 million people were massacred during the Holocaust. Between the various methods, they used to massacre people, we can mention the concentration camps, the gas chambers, and the labor camps. Imagine how terrible the Rwandan genocide was. It is probably the densest genocide in recorded history. The genocidal event lasted 100 days, from April 6 to July 16, 1994. 800,000 to 1 million were massacred by the Hutus. It is estimated that more than 6 men, women, and children were murdered every minute of every hour or every day. This efficiency was maintained for more than 3 months. Survivors to this day still are treated very poorly. The Darfur crisis. They are home to 6 million people from 100 different tribes. In 2003, two Darfur rebel movements, the Sudan Liberation Army and the Justice and Equality Movement, attacked the Sudanese government on terms of not acting in quarrels in the area. The government responded by releasing the Arab militia called Janjaweed. Over 400 Darfuri civilians died. 2.8 million people were displaced within Sudan. Janjaweed militia and the government were responsible for 97% of killing. Religious conflicts. Believe it or not, this type of conflict mainly affects in 2 ways. First, the piece of competition. They compete to be the best religion in the world. Second, it is mandatory struggle, including armed fight and war. The worst religious conflicts in the 3 major religions are Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, which are the most long-term performance and the most intense fight. We can see that in Abraham's descendants in this chart. Abraham was the father of Isaac and Ishmael. From Isaac, on the left, we had the Judaism and Christianity. Christianity is subdivided in Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy. And from the Roman Catholicism, we have the Protestantism. From Ishmael on the right, we have Islam, which is subdivided in Sunni Muslim and Shiite Muslim. Also, these religions comprise about 1/2 of the world's religions. Ideological conflicts. Ideology symbolizes and intensifies conflicts between groups and states more than it causes them. Because they have somewhat weakened hold on core values and absolute truth than religions do, they pose somewhat fewer problems to the international system. For example, China Maoist communism in 1949, Russia's Leninism, communism in 1917, and U.S. democracy in 1777. The ideological conflicts pursue national interests rather than ideological ones. Ideologies can mobilize national populations too. State leaders' ideologies justify whatever actions of their interests. Now, your comments, perception, or any doubt about this topic. And going back to our agenda, let's do the wrap-up activity. What is your reaction about this topic?